Okay lads, so in this question we have a base, we're going to have an angled body then coming up, and this is going to come up to meet a semicircle, so quite a lot. So first thing I'd like you to do is I want you to draw the plan and the elevation on the left hand side of your page. This is just so we have it for measurements, and so I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. So over here, start off my plan, and on my plan I have 25, 30 and 25. From each of those points we're going to go vertically up. I'm going to extend them up to the elevation because I will need them as well in the elevation. My thickness of my plan, I'm given a total of 40 and I have a 25 and a 15. So measure my 25 and my 15. From those 2 points we're going to go across. So I can darken in the outline of my plan now. Okay, now I'm not given this line here. In order to get that, I have to do my elevation, but I do have 2 hidden detail lines here. Obviously, just to recap, hidden detail means we can't see it, but it is there. Okay, so I'm going to do my XY line. Obviously, as we know, leave 1 centimeter to 2 centimeters of a gap for neatness. And the heights I have in my elevation, I have a 20 and a 95. And I have a radius up here, which is going to be radius 35. So 20 and 95, and go horizontally across, horizontally across. For my base, I can just draw my base in lovely and dark. And so first thing I'm told is I have an angle here of 75 degrees. Obviously, if you don't have a protractor, you can get 2 set squares, a 30 degrees and a 45 degrees, and that will give us 70. So I'm just going to line it up, 75. Once we have our dot, line it up, draw my angle. Same on the other side, we have our 75 degrees. Now, I'm now going to go straight up here to my radius 35 circle. My radius 35 is obviously going to be in the middle, so I'm just going to get my midpoint here and go straight up. Now, get my radius 35 on my compass, and from this point we're going to draw in my semicircle. Now, it's very important we do this bit next. Once I have this drawn, from these 2 points, I'm going to drop a vertical line straight down, and that there is the point where it cuts. Now we just draw horizontally across to show that we're in the same point. Lovely. So we can draw this nice and dark now. Okay, next thing I need to do, lads, is using the same center point, I have a radius 25 circle. So getting my compass, I'm going to put 25 on my compass. Oh, sugar, apologies. That's, as we know, meant to be a light circle, not a dark circle, lads. So nice and light, please, because it's a construction circle. So, nice light circle, and as we see, we're going to use that for our square, which is inside it. So I'm just going to draw the vertical line so we can get to top and the bottom. And using my 45 degree set square, we can draw the required square. Obviously, it's a square that's tilted at 45 degrees. Now, we just finally have to finish my elevation. My widest 2 points are these 2 points here, so we're going to bring them straight down. And same on this side, straight down. And drawing my line across. Lovely. So, we have our shape. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our 3D drawing. Now, my 3D drawing that I have to get, I'm just going to move this down here out of the way. I have a base first of all, so I'm going to start with the base at there. Okay lads, so I'm going to start by constructing the base. Now, as we know from our plan, our base thickness is this thick and our width is this width. So we're going to start with our crow's foot. So near the bottom of the page, we're going to draw our 30 degree line and a 30 degree line meeting it. And first and foremost, I'm going to get my compass, and I'm going to take my distance, my length of my plan, marker off, and the width or thickness of my plan, and mark it off as well. So that gives me those 2 lovely points there. Once I have those 2 points, I'm going to go back at 30 degrees, and by going back at 30 degrees, that's given me, I'm going to say the top here, and I'm going to work downwards. In order to get the bottom part, from the 3 points here, I'm going to go down vertically. We don't need to draw a vertical line from this back corner because we won't actually see it, okay? There is a line obviously going from it, but we won't see it. My height is taken from my elevation. Mark it off. And once we have that marked off, we're going to join our dots together to get the bottom of the box there. Okay, I'm not going to darken in this yet because we don't know how much will go in dark. Now, the next thing we have is we have an angle here. So we have to look at our angle and how we're going to solve it. So if we come up here to my elevation, I'm just going to push a triangle here where the angle is. So I'm just using, there's the height. That's the actual angle itself. And then we have a width here, which is that width. This is the triangle that gives us the angle. I'm just going to put a bit of colour into it here just so we can translate it over to the side view. Now, I need to find that down here. Before I find that, I'm going to find this point. Now, it's very easy to find that point because this is the same as this. So if I take my plan and I take the distance from here to here using my compass and I mark it here, I'm going to go back at 30 degrees. And I know the length of that will be this length here. Now, what that gives me, lads, is it's after giving me this line, which essentially, if we look at the 3D, it's that little line that's just there, okay? So, from this point, I need to measure this distance. So, I'm going to take this distance here using my compass. So, I have that distance on my triangle, and I'm going to mark it here. And I know now that that yellow line is the same as this yellow line. As we see, the horizontal line becomes 30 degrees in isometric. From this point we have a vertical line going up. So from here we're also going to draw a vertical line going straight up. Now in my elevation I can take the height of that and there's our height. Turn around here and mark it off in my 3D. So yet again we know this height is the same as this height. We're now going to join our two dots to finish my triangle. I'm just going to add a little bit of colour into that as well, just so we can highlight it, what we've done. So we've moved this triangle from here in my elevation to here in my isometric 3D. I've taken the width here of my plan, it's there, and I've taken the height I've measured there. To recap on this point, in order to get that point in my plan, I took the distance and I marked it off just from here to here. Okay, I now have the side. So once I have that side, I can darken it in. I now want to make that 3D, so I'm just going to come back at 30 degrees, get my thickness, and mark it off. Now obviously some of you are going to be asking, could you use sliding set squares here? Of course you can. So just to show you that it works, if we line up our two set square, slide them, that will give us that line because these have to be parallel. This can give us a lovely dark line there as well. And now that gives us that shape, which is fantastic. The next thing I'm going to get is I'm going to get this line just here, this bit. So I'm going to go 30 degrees back this way. I'm going to get my set square, get my compass and get the width of that base. Mark it off here. And that, lads, gives me the base of that, which is lovely. Now, oops, this after zooming out. I need to find the corresponding point up here, which is essentially this point. If you want, you can go away and you can draw the exact same triangle over here, but there's an easier method. From this point, if I go back at 30 degrees, in my elevation, if I get the width of that line, so I'm getting the length of that line, in my 3D shape, when I swing an arc, that gives me the point. And all I have to do then is line it up with my set square back to where I got that point. There's my angle. So that now is giving me that body there, which is fantastic. The next thing I'm going to get is the two vertical lines go straight up. So from the points we're going to measure up my height. And we're taking this from the elevation. So there's my height in the elevation. Now just so we can draw in the line, draw that in. You won't have a dark line here. When you have a semicircle meeting a vertical plane, you don't have a line. However, when you have two angled planes meeting, or two angled surfaces, you do have a line. So lads, we have all of that there now, which is lovely. 2 seconds. Okay, so now lads, I need to get my freehand curve up here, okay? So I'm going to look at my semicircle. When I look at my semicircle up here, what I am getting is I have a distance of 70. Now, I'm going to go in tens, just for handiness, like so. But there is one thing I want to draw your attention to. The middle or the center point is at 35. You have to get the middle point as well, because that's going to be the highest point. From each of them, I'm just going to draw a lovely vertical line. Now, I'm putting these in colour just to highlight them on the page. I would encourage you for the first few drawings to put them in colour, but in an exam situation, unless colour is helping you to do the question, there is no need for colour. So, those points we're going to divide down here as well. So we have a 10, 10, 10, a 5, 10, and 10. Now I'm not going to put in colour yet. From each of those points we're going to go straight up. From this point I'm going to go straight down, because you'll see in a moment it's going to help give us another point. And now I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to take my distances from my elevation. Now, as you'll see, I've divided this symmetrically, so the 2 points on the right and the left are the same, so I can mark them as follows. My next height then will be this fella. Mark it off here, mark it off here. Third height, yeah, again the same. So as you can see, lads, there's a bit of a handy, and you have to get this high point. Very important to get that center. Once you have all those points, we're just going to literally join the dots together. And that's going to give us a lovely freehand curve. Now, in order to make this 3D, you could obviously do all the construction again at the back, but there's an easier way. From every point, we're going to go back at 30 degrees. Lovely. And we're going to get the thickness. Now we can get our thickness here, which obviously is the same as this thickness in a plan. And we're just going to measure it off from each point. Now obviously once we have these points as well, we're going to join them by a freehand curve. Nice and neatly. I always prefer going nice and neat first, just so you have a path to follow then. And then we're going to line up our 30 degree set square to get our edge like so. Now we're not quite finished. We still have to get the diamond shape in the front. Now the diamond shape touches this point here and this point here. So that gives us a point here and a point here. Yeah, again lads, don't do big dots in yours. I'm just highlighting it. We have a point here on the top here and a point here on the bottom. So we're going to get our compass and we're going to measure from the middle there and there. And once we have that done, all we have to do is get our set square. Line them up. It will look like more of a parallelogram, but that's because it's 3D. Now I can obviously darken in this little bit down here in the bottom. And that, lads, is my 3D shape completely finished. Hopefully, I'm just going to highlight over here these blue lines. They obviously came from my division of a circle. You do not have to use 10 mil for dividing your circle. However, it's a nice easy number. The more points you divide your circle into, the more accurate your freehand curve is going to be. Alright, so